and you can hear me. Welcome to Linux Saloon, a place to discuss tech, open source, and where Linux is always on tap. Each show we have a talk about Linux projects, such as a distribution, desktop environment, or applications. We also chat about the news or any variety of topics in the community. Anything that is Linux, tech, and open source related is on the table for discussion. I'm Nate, Linux fitness and vintage tech enthusiast with an almost unhealthy obsession with the OpenSUSE project. And with me today,
Were you not?
What?
Were you not quite sure that you were Nate for a second there?
I wasn't sure.
Nate.
You know, there are some days when I look in the
I'm
mirror
Ron
like,
Burgundy.
who is this guy? Like, kind of like I squint.
He's
a little
got
bit,
aliases.
Like, well,
Hey,
You say that like you have a choice.
I didn't give him any of my gummies, I swear.
So that's actually one of the things about me is I don't. The only drug I do is caffeine. Currently.
Do you do Keurig or grind your own, or are you particular about steeping it and all that?
No. In fact, I'll even just as happily use the instant coffee because I can dial in the potency at any point in time. So
I like the little packets, but I use what you call a knockoff Keurig. I like those, and I like the Dollar General caramel cream flavor because it's like half the cost of your McDonald's flavors and your Folgers and all that, and it tastes just as good.
So I don't actually like flavored coffee. I don't like sugar. Like cream, like heavy whipping cream or milk is about all I put in my coffee.
Oh, you're a hardcore.
So those I don't know. This started maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, like maybe 6. I don't know. But those artificial flavor things, they give me like a headache, and so I've just been avoiding all those. And so I don't know what it is, and it's not all of them. Maybe the ones that don't use artificial flavors and whatnot. But it just makes me like not feel good. So I'll just drink my coffee black or a little milk, no sugar.
I have the same reaction with certain flavors of Gatorade. Okay. I get a headache and cramps right away.
Yeah, I don't know. And I'm already enough of a headache for myself, so I don't need to make it any worse.
Oh yeah, I understand that completely.
I'm black straight out. But what I do is put a little bit of cinnamon and some cocoa powder in my black coffee.
Yeah,
yeah that's quite nice. Just to,
sometimes I'll do that also. Like I put a little dash of like cinnamon, or now we're getting into the season of pumpkin spice. I got some of that. I can just put a little dash of that, but not anything artificial. And then also, I have sometimes put. Have you ever put like? Did you say cayenne pepper?
No, cinnamon and cocoa powder.
Oh, cocoa powder. Sometimes I'll put cayenne pepper. For
a cayenne pepper. Is that hot or it's just spicy tasted?
It's more. It's. So somebody once told me that it's like one of those like old wives' tales, like you're supposed to knock on the door before you go through or something like that. But like apparently having cayenne pepper can reduce certain like cardiovascular issues, and since
it has some great benefits, I heard. But I also heard that cinnamon and cocoa powder also help regulate your blood pressure, so that's why I take that. But I only take it on the coffee when I start eating because I fast in the morning.
Okay.
And but I just drink straight black coffee, which is good for fasting anyway. Yeah.
And this isn't Linux Saloon, so we can talk about beverages, right?
Yeah. That's correct.
So I have a wonderful panel of people. Before I got distracted and thrown off my script, thank you, Eric. I've got Ben and Ben.
I'm sorry.
Dale, Eric, Hip Dad, Jinda. I've got Colin, also known as PC TLC. Adam, Full Scale for me, Mike, and Mike Chilson. So I guess everyone's doing pretty spectacular tonight. I was going to ask how you were, but we're all very knowledgeable of our coffee. So if you'd be so kind as to like the like button, click the like button, whatever it is. Or better yet, you can join the Discord voice chat here and help me to not talk as much about my weird coffee habits. And you also can join our Discord or Telegram group, and you can keep the conversation rolling throughout the week. Talk about all kinds of fun things. I think one time I was questioned about why my server room is so dusty. I think I shared one picture, and I don't know if I regret sharing it or not. But yes, it is dusty because it's a powder plant, and there's powder everywhere. And even though there's a positive pressure on the room and filters, powder still gets in there. So anyway, good times. Also, sometimes glycol just leaks from the ceiling. That's also fun. Ever had that happen in your server room where just glycol just starts dripping down? No? Is that
out of the server room?
Don't store Mountain Dew or Mellow Yellow anywhere, so no.
No. Okay. That is kind of like glycol.
Mountain Dew.
They call me Mellow Yellow. Is that how it goes?
Yep. They call me Mellow Yellow.
I knew that Hip Dad would know that one because he sang that when he was a kid.
Oh.
Bonus points if you know who it was sung by.
I have no idea.
Oh.
Come on. I know it. I'm not going to say it, though.
It's not Tommy James and the Shondells.
I might be wrong. I think I know who it is.
It's Donovan.
Donovan, thank you. That's what I was going to say.
Yep.
Wow, we're going way back there.
We are. I used to listen to...
I'm sad I know that.
So how many times can we fall off track on this party wagon here? Also,
Doing
be sure
good.
to do the straw poll. Cubiclink.com/polls. Then do that straw poll here. It's about whether or not you touch type or not, essentially. You have to look at the keyboard when you type. So we can talk about that a little bit later. But on the dock for today, it's an open mic night. We're going to talk anything Linux tech and open source related. Going to keep it fun because sometimes unplugging from the chaos of the world and flock cameras and everything else that people are upset about is a good thing. Let's not talk about the dystopian aspects of technology. Let's talk about the fun parts. But first, what have you been doing on Linux and tech? Mike so wonderfully volunteered to talk about, he's got a new update for Marklite. I installed it. and I couldn't get it to crash. What did I do wrong, Jinda?
I'm not sure. I know I can try. I got faith in you. Try harder.
Hey, with support like this, who needs a QA team, right? Let's see. New version. Yeah, new feature version out. I added the ability to print both in the view and in the edit mode, whatever document you have open. I also added word wrap in the editor for our friend Nate, who said he would slip me $1 under the table if I did that.
Up and over the table.
And an interesting thing about this release, it's kind of going to go off track just a bit, but I thought this was interesting and thought you guys might like to hear about this. I have been slowly integrating AI into my programming workflows. I started off using it just for testing, and now I've developed a methodology where I'm using it for optimization and bug tracking. And it's working really well. I have a couple of kind of play projects that I tried it on first, and it worked really well. One of them was a little SaaS password generator. And you can check that out at mypassword.guru, I think is the web address. But it cut the payload down. This is a Rails app, by the way, a Ruby on Rails app. And it cut the payload down to the browser to 1/3 of what it was before, which was incredible. And just by going through and tightening things up and all those things that it takes us developers over a period of years to do, it did in about 10 minutes, which was amazing.
You're just asking whether you think people have a positive or negative opinion of it, or
no, I'm just letting you know kind of how I've added it to my workflow and what it does. And so I've slowly integrated the optimization and bug tracking into my regular workflow and my open source projects. And I use that on this release of Marklite. And it actually found a couple of small problems. It found a memory leak that I wasn't aware of. And it found some code that I had left in there that wasn't being used anymore, but was, being initialized and not used for anything.
You say it, what are you using?
Claude code.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
And, it seems to be the standard. I just wasn't sure which one you chose.
Yeah. And the thing about that I've discovered is if I'm kind of doing high risk things like checking for bugs or optimizing, I tend to use the later models, which do a great job. If I'm just doing things like simple optimization, like going through and refactoring simple code or HTML or something like that for the web, I use the lower models because obviously they don't eat up your number of tokens as fast as the higher models do. But yeah, it works great. And so this is the first public application I've released where I've used AI to test and to optimize and debug. So
it's awesome.
Very interesting. Yeah, it cut. You have to be very disciplined about it. You can't just say, "Hey, check this." So, but once you kind of come up with a methodology and a standard set of prompts, to use. It
Yeah.
works really well. So
Yep. Getting that consistency is something I've found, like, at first, everybody has a way of doing it, right? I mean, there's going to be a million different ways to use technology. It's just always been that way, especially
Sure.
productivity stuff, right? And so until you internalize it and learn enough to be dangerous,
Yep.
like you're saying, yeah, that's great. And if you're doing stuff by yourself, I mean, like you said, going back and refactoring, looking at it again with another pair of eyes, essentially, is what you're doing with that.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know how you could possibly be a software developer at this point in the game and not be seriously, if not seriously, looking at like using AI like every day.
Yeah.
Because you'd just be behind. You'd be, you wouldn't be keeping up with the times and everybody else who's using it. So, even if you're just doing it and it's making you more productive,
Right.
you're still, like you're saying, you're using it carefully and all that, which is really a really cool story to hear, like how you've adopted it piece by piece. So curious to hear you talk about how you keep using it. So
yeah, and it's interesting. At this point, I don't think I would use it for my coding per se, because basically all it's doing is going out there and whatever it has accumulated data on, that's what it builds it from, and not everybody's code is really optimal, so but for these particular tasks, I mean, it has probably knocked 25% off my development time. So
That's valuable.
yeah, it really is. I mean, that's 25% more money I can make an hour,
Right.
I think too, if you were learning a new language, like let's say you're already a programmer and you're familiar with coding as a concept, and you're trying to learn something new, having those guardrails would probably make it a lot easier. I assume.
It would, yeah. And Claude Code does a real good job of, like, it will explain everything it has done. So, like, when I was letting it optimize some of my code, it explained what I had done and said, yes, this works fine, but here's a better solution because of this and this and this, and here's how we fix it, And then you say either fix it or skip, move on. So,
Wow.
but it's a nice product. I use it quite a bit, not only for programming, but for other business things. And I actually have a local model that I use for that. And I use a little proxy to kind of send those kind of questions to it, so I don't eat up all my tokens. But that's what you got to be careful of, is that when you use the higher level models, they really eat the tokens fast. So.
Yes. Yeah, I used Opus. I think it was Opus. It was something, a Claude-based product, Anthropic-based product, and it was being hosted on a different service. And yeah, it's one of the most expensive per token. And yeah, I think within the stuff I had been doing, used like 10 cents a day or something.
Right.
Like, because I really wasn't doing a lot. And then, yeah, I used it for like an hour and it used like $8. I was like, whoa, okay.
Well, it's funny. They have Fable 5, which is their latest model. That's the one that all the controversy was about. But I don't really use it much. But they have Opus 5, which is their latest Opus model. And I use it probably 20% of the time, but I mostly use Opus 4.8. And the difference between 5 and 8, I get about double the number of tokens with 4.8 use. So, yeah, it's kind of cool.
Cool.
Are you looking at possibly making Marklite a flat pack?
I don't think I'm going to do it, to be honest with you.
You could use Claude.
I may change my mind, but I looked into building a flat pack out, and it's a lot of work to build one out.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, it's not a simple thing to do.
And if you use AI on it, the flat hub guys won't let you. So
that's right.
Seems kind of dumb.
Yeah. So I mean, it's very labor intensive to create a flat pack.
Oh, come on, Eric. You know,
Listen,
gatekeeping is alive and well.
I don't believe either of you, because I went to FlatHub's webpage and it's set as right there. It's like a 5-minute starter thing. So
right.
You're just making it sound harder.
It can't possibly be that hard.
Can't you use AI, but you can verify? Don't they let you verify it? Like, as a coder, you verify what you've done. I mean, AI obviously speeds up the process instead of typing out every little thing. I'm not a developer, but I mean, yeah, obviously.
Everybody thinks developing is just programming, but it's not. There's quality assurance. There's debugging.
Testing.
There's
CI.
lots of things like that you have to deal with along with just the programming. So it relieves the way I've set this up now. It's relieved me of a lot of those tasks.
I do kind of wonder. So, because I think the flat pack would be great, personally. Because that would open up to like the immutable distributions to be able to use your software really easier. I mean, you can still do it in DistroBox, so it's not a big deal. But
right.
But it would be. I kind of wonder if using something like, once you have like your boilerplate in place, is it just a matter of like rebuilding it every time you do an update, or what's the actual process that takes longer?
Well, you basically have to, there's two things you have to do. You have to download their GitHub template and basically insert your project into that, even though you already have it in another GitHub project, right? And so that's the first step, which is very time consuming. And then secondly, you have to upload that to their GitHub repository. And then it goes through all their checks and everything. And if it's a language other than like C or JavaScript or Python, it can take a while for them to do the review. So it's just, like I said originally, I created this for myself. It's out. The source code's out there. If somebody wants to take it and make a flat pack, have at it. The source code's out in the repo. But I'm just not going to spend my time. Like I was telling you today, Nate, I was surprised. I have 3 open source projects out there, and 3 important ones. I have some play stuff out there, but maintaining those 3 projects is eating up a ton of my time. And I don't think people realize how much time that takes. I mean, not only just the coding and fixing bugs and that kind of stuff. Well, now you've got to you got to deal with the website. You have to do posts about it. All this other stuff that you're just in this constant cycle of doing. So that's why I probably won't do it. It's just I'm just not interested in creating one, to be honest with you.
That makes sense. You have some bandwidth.
Sounds like a challenge if I've ever heard one.
That's right. It's out there if anybody wants to do it. So
yeah.
So people are currently using this Markdown, are they? I mean, you've got. I've noticed you've got available in Linux and Windows, which is for Linux .deb and RPM files, yeah, and you got it as a snap.
Right.
So obviously, snap is a little bit easier than Flatpak, obviously.
Yeah, Snap's a little easier than Flatpak, yeah.
Okay.
So I was just verifying exactly which GPU I have in my desktop because I was going to reference it.
Uh-huh.
And I just did an nvtop -- help. And it has -F or -- freedom unit, which means to use Fahrenheit.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Which I think is very funny.
That is funny. Yeah.
What is that in freedom units?
Yeah.
Anyway, the point of me doing that was because I wanted to tell you I do a lot of like local stuff as well, and I have a 2060, which is not a powerful card. And I think it has 6 gigs of VRAM. And that's actually enough to do, if you download the the AIs that are focused on specific tasks, they tend to run pretty well on, small deployments like that, lower powered machines. You're not going to get a multi-billion factor LLM running on something like that. Although they have found ways to really like cut down a lot on like the amount of reserved memory and stuff like that. So it's gotten better over the last couple of years. Yeah, I'm often pretty surprised at how much I can actually do with such a limited resource. And yeah, it's nice to be able to do stuff locally too.
I think I told you guys before, I had kind of as a testing tool and just surprisingly as a gift, which really shocked me. One of my clients gave me a Mac Mini M4 with 128 gig on it. And that's what I've been running my local model on. And it does a pretty good job. I mean, it's pretty snappy for a local one.
I mean, if you have reasonable expectations, if you like expect it to be like as fast as something you're paying for, right? I mean, it's kind of funny because it almost feels like an RPG or something. It does because it's like a little slow in producing the text, and you're like, what's coming next? Anyway, it's still useful. I would ask it a prompt and then switch to do something else and come back a minute or two later, and it's done. So it works. It's just not fast.
It's odd.
Who had a website?
I was just going to say, what's odd about that, Eric, is I think that is actually the TTY terminal that's causing that slowness, because I've used it through an API and it's almost instantaneous.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's because I've seen that before too, even with this machine, but this machine and model I use is slow in the terminal,
Gotcha.
But I don't know. I mean, I haven't really researched it much.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do anything serious with it. I'm just having fun. But sorry, Colin, what were you going to say?
A little while ago on here, we had somebody who had a website that was generating images and things like that. Do you remember that? I don't know if that was Mike or somebody else. That it was just a trial website, and they allowed us to go on there and generate images and that. I don't know who that was, but I don't know whatever happened to that website, whether they got it up and running or not. Anyone remember that?
Oh, that was a while ago. Yeah, I think I remember that now.
Yeah.
Who was that?
I can't remember who that was.
Yeah. And it was only there for a little while, and yeah, you could just that was a couple years ago, wasn't it?
Maybe I don't know. It's time gone that fast already.
I don't know. Maybe
diffusion and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, it was somebody was just hosting like Next UI or something like that. I don't remember what it was. But yeah, it was just like Stable Diffusion based stuff, and they were just hosting it locally and opening a port or whatever. But I
don't know whatever happened to that website. I thought I had it I was looking for it. I thought I had it as a shortcut, but I can't find it. But for the longest time I went on there, but it never allowed me to go back on there. So I think he said he was going to do something and then get it running again or make some changes, but it never actually worked.
For what it's worth, if you don't care about it being self-hosted, Duck.ai gives you a lot of stuff like that for free. I mean, within a reasonable amount. They do give you a daily allotment. So if you're like really going at it hard, it'll tell you. But yeah, you can, go tell it to do a Tux Penguin, of your choice or whatever you want, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't used AI yet. I haven't never used AI yet. I haven't had a chance to really get into it, but I don't even know where to start. But you reckon DuckDuckGo, You can do that?
Well, I like it because you can choose different models. You can choose between thinking models or just regular models. You can certain ones you can have upload a file and have it analyze it for you. And I just like having the choice of using different models if I want to, and they're all open source models too, which I like.
I was going to say too, if someone who's listening or watching wants to try playing with a local model, the two kind of major players program-wise on Linux that do that is LM Studio and Olama. They're very easy to use and very easy to set up. And they give you a list of models that you can download. You just have to kind of understand that if you don't have a big GPU or a lot of RAM, it's going to be slow. So you want to pick a smaller model with a smaller footprint, to keep things snappy. So just a little advice.
Fair enough.
So, have any of you used any like local models and have it dig it like into your email? There's one I was looking at for Thunderbird where you could actually run a local. I can't remember. I couldn't get it to work, and I basically probably maybe I should have used AI to help me set it up. But anyway, have it where you can like summarize emails, because like sometimes I just get like mollywopped with a bunch of like a thread of emails with people like talking between different groups, and like
Yeah.
I don't want to read through all of it. Now, thankfully, like Thunderbird's way better than Outlook, so I can actually like down arrow and actually read all through them pretty quickly. Because the way it sorts them is way better than Outlook, because Outlook is garbage. So that does make it a little bit better. But it'd be nice if I could just have it. I don't want to have like some external service summarize. But have any of you like played with any like local email summarizing agents?
Just a cursory look. There's something called Thunder AI, which seems to be like looks like it can either do an API call to like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, or Olama, which would be the local instance that you set up yourself.
Uh-huh.
That's probably what you were using. I mean, there are a few others, but that seems to be like the predominant one.
Thunder AI?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of these local AI assistants that will do that kind of stuff. The problem with them is, in my opinion, is the security. You're basically opening all your doors to this program, all of them.
On a local machine?
Well, it depends on, because if you're...
you can run it. You can run a lot of these with, I forget the service that lets you give a link to someone and then punches through.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and some things do sometimes come, they're like wide open. If you just run it with no qualifications, no flags, no configuration, like it'll not maybe the ideal configuration, but there's none that I know of that will like do anything to your network to like enable someone to.
Looking at Thunder AI, good. I don't think this is the same one I looked at before. Anyway, this says there's a part that says want to go full privacy, use a local LLM, and you can use Olama server or OpenAI compatible API server like LM Studio. So you can have it go totally local.
Right.
And then because that's basically what I would want.
What I'm talking about is giving it all your passwords and everything.
Oh no, no. I just want it to be able to like.
You mean the clause stuff, or
yeah. I mean, if that's what I'm talking
about.
I
agree with that. That's wild to just like, here you go. Here's my whole life.
Yeah, exactly. Hand everything over to an AI, even if it's local. I mean, nope.
Remember the movie?
If it's agentic and it can do things on your behalf,
Yeah, remember the movie The Net or something like that? It came out in the 90s sometime, and where basically where essentially somebody I can't remember, was it who's the lady that was in
it was
there?
Sandra Bullock. Bullock.
Yeah. That one.
And she got her life hacked, and it turned into a whole big thing where it was a conspiracy versus just her being a random attack. Yeah.
So that's why you don't give a agenic AI anything of yours.
You learned that lesson 25 years ago and it stuck
30?
with you. 30,
Yeah,
sorry,
it's like
30 years ago.
it's like I don't know. Did none of these people like watch any sci-fi growing up? Like, are we?
Yeah.
I know, right?
No, I think there really is this this assumption of either good actors, like people acting on your behalf in a positive way, which I don't know how anybody has that faith left at this point in humanity, but they're out there. And then just not knowing, I guess just the ignorance of not understanding what you're giving away. Because all the apps you think on a phone too, where they love to, can we have access to your contacts? That always haunts me because I think like who has me in their phone, and they install all these stupid apps that harvest all the contacts on their phone, and yeah. But yeah, I think that's a big part of it is people just don't understand what they're doing. Sometimes technology is too easy. We talk about self-hosting and stuff, and I think to myself every time, is this something we really want the world to do en masse? Like, do we want everyone self-hosting everything? I mean, sure, it's great for privacy if you understand what you're doing and keep things up to date and locked down and all that, but it's fraught with problems that they can't anticipate because they've never been in IT and don't understand how all the pieces fit together. And I mean, anyway, it's a good way to learn if it's a low risk thing. So if you're just hosting, a video archive or something, then great. But yeah, don't be putting all your pictures on some like open source thing that you don't understand, and then come back and be like, yeah, I deleted everything off of Google, and now all of my photos are gone. Yeah, you might not want to do that, but
Right.
Anyway.
Or
hey, Eric,
you don't have proper backups, and then your whatever your self-hosted system just dies on you, and then
Yeah. Or you
Hey,
want
Eric,
to remove everything off Google and they don't remove it.
Ever. What's up, Mike?
I was going to say, could you imagine what Claw would say if I told it to call Nate? The phone call.
Find a way. Yeah, it would find a way.
It would find a way.
That's right. Do not give up until you get in touch with Nate.
That's right. That's right.
At all cost.
Yeah. And don't make mistakes.
Well, that too.
That's my favorite one. Is make sure you put that at the end of the prompt. Don't make mistakes.
That's right. Right. And by the way, in case it wasn't inferred or implied or whatever, yeah, don't make any mistakes. Oh, good thing you said that.
Oh man, I wouldn't thought of that. Yeah, silly me.
Right.
It's like when you get a wish from a genie, and like, how do you make it so you have more wishes, and all the logical fallacies and stuff.
So I've been using a fair amount of AI stuff at work. For some of my coding at work, and what I've actually found is that I feel like there is an illusion of efficiency. Mainly that the AI tends to do a lot of really dumb stuff in terms of like the way it structures things. It creates a lot of code, like a volume of code. It likes to inject things like validating everything and like creating integration tests for every single thing you make, and these sorts of things like start to pile up. And I had a project that I had a deadline on, so I just kind of threw it at the AI, and it was for creating some container images that needed to be made. And the amount of like files and code it made to just like create these images, because it like created build scripts and tests and all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, fine, it works, whatever, right? The people who need it are pleased, that doesn't matter. But then when I went to like write my own, it was just 2 files. That's all I needed. But the AI insisted on building all this other stuff, and I'm like, okay, so now what I'm looking at is I have a few repos that were mostly AI coded, and they're just technical debt. It's so much just extra stuff. and it will take me a lot of time to go through that to weed out like what is necessary, what is not, what's less efficient. Like, because we're talking like cloud resources here, so compute time is important and all of that, right? So like using the AI for those things seems like a win, but then I'm like, would it actually have just been faster or close to as fast if I just did it myself, given that I will do it in less steps? And so sometimes I run into that where I'm like, okay, maybe I should have done this instead of the AI. And then there are times where like I don't have the cognitive space to do it myself, so I chuck it in an agent, right? Because like I'm busy working on this other thing, so I just like throw it at a few agents to do a Ralph loop and review and go off and do this other thing. But then what it produces, quote unquote, works, but like it's total garbo, and I'm like, yep, everybody gets to see that in the Git tree, you know. So it's
yeah.
It's,
well, I would think
it
also
has its downsides.
To what you're saying, like in terms of you've mentioned the prompts and like how many tokens things use, and I wonder like what is something like creating all of that framework and additional structure costing you from that perspective, you know?
That kind of project, it depends on how you want to build it. So assuming I build it like an API directly, like just straight API costs, like getting that stuff built, like I don't know, $80, $60.
Okay, I mean it's not
it's not nothing.
No,
but like, did it need to be that? That's the question.
Well, okay, so then if none of that was there,
I had wrote it
$10?
Right? If it wrote what I would write, it would be a couple bucks at most.
Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking. Okay,
right.
So what about what Mike said?
A lot of just thinking and rethinking, and like it'll. Here's an example, a contrived example, but bear with me. Like, say it writes a function, and then it goes to run the function to test it, and it's like, oh, the function error came out. Can't string interpolate here, and it's like, oh, my mistake. I'll go ahead and fix that by adding the slashes. Cool, we added the slashes to escape the characters. Run it again. Can't use this in this context. Oh man, I'll go ahead and do that. And it's like a person who would know how to write that function to begin with just wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Right? Like those simple mistakes are common, and you end up churning a bunch of time and tokens on that. Now, it's time in that it's doing its thing. You can do something else while it's chugging. You don't have to sit there and babysit it, right? But you end up with what should have been like a 5-line function is like 10 lines with a bunch of if statements and checks and validations and comments, and it's like it had to be 5 lines, bro. You could have just done that.
Yeah.
And so it's really useful for like offloading those tasks, but I don't necessarily think it's any faster or better. And it depends entirely on what you're building too. Like if you're building something that is a common language that the AI has seen a bazillion times and all of that, like maybe, but like if I'm doing like IAC stuff with like Terraform or Ansible, like a lot of that code that's written is like private code to organizations, not necessarily public. So it's not particularly great at those things. In fact, it hallucinates Ansible modules like crazy. Like it just thinks that these modules exist when they don't. And so like I run into that a lot. So certain workflows, I don't even bother engaging the AI in because I know it's just gonna waste my time and money. But then there are other things, like if I'm writing Python, it's like, yeah, it'll do, right? It's not great, but it'll do. And I guess that's sort of my 2 cents to you, Mike, is that if you're gonna use it, I would say try to limit the scope of what it's doing as much as you can. Otherwise, you will end up with a big, puffy code base full of technical debt.
Yeah. Well, I do not use it for coding, period. Absolutely not. I do that myself. I've tried using it for coding to see what it would do and just writing functions and even being as precise as I could be and giving it all the information it needs to know. It still came up, like you said, with this monolith of code that was like I think my a couple of test ones I did were 30, 40 lines of code, and it could have been done in 5, like you said.
Yeah,
and Yeah, because you're controlling the parameters going in and out of that function other places, and it doesn't seem to always recognize that. And so it tries to handle all that coming in and going out. So
and then you're like, hey, this only had to be like 5 lines. It's like,
right,
you're absolutely right. And then you just know to nope out at that point, because once you hear those words, it's gone.
Right. But in fairness, it does a really good job at optimization and finding bugs and testing. My tester, I use like test driven development. That's kind of my model I use.
Yeah.
And it does a good job creating my test and keeping them super simple. And then I can just go in there and delete the ones I think are kind of stupid, and because some of them are just like redundant as hell,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's using it specifically for those things. It has allowed me to offload a lot of that work, which is nice.
Yeah, I think it's great for writing like unit test, integration tests. It's just that, if I ask you to like write a function that just like checks if checks a regex for a string input,
right?
I don't need an integration test for that, sir.
Right, exactly. But you're right. I mean, I agree with you 100% about the code. I'm going to have to see a lot of improvement before I'll go down that route. And most frameworks today will kind of, as far as getting started, most frameworks will generate most of the code you need to begin with anyway. And then you can just start, writing within that. But yeah, I mean, I agree. It's the
real danger is the number of people who don't recognize the things you and I do, and they're like,
right,
hey, here's your 5,000 line PR. Have fun.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, here's the rejection. Have fun. Like,
I know someone right now who's doing pretty hardcore vibe coding and putting stuff out without like I mean, he's not an expert, so I mean, I guess it lowers the bar to entry, and if the thing that they're creating is small enough in scope that it can't be. I mean, I don't know. Is it necessarily a bad thing? Like that website you gave us, I can't even remember the Tiny
Tool Town, yeah. Like that stuff, totally fine with that. Who cares what like the code base looks like? Because it's like it's just like a little thing for yourself, and you're just like, hey guys, here, have fun.
Right.
I love that stuff.
So far,
it's great for that.
Yeah, and that's what he's been doing. So it's kind of like, yeah, okay, I don't care. It's fine.
Right. But I'm talking about like a code base that other people will be using in an enterprise and needs to be maintainable and all that, right? And it's like
exactly.
But enterprises are exactly what these companies are targeting. And like the enterprises have leadership that are like, hey, where can we shove AI into it? And so you're like, oh great, like I don't even trust these guys given like an unlimited budget of tokens and told to just go wild.
What was it? I heard someone, I forget what the company was. I think it was a few companies actually. At the beginning of the year, they had a budget set and they expected adoption of AI. And so they were like, everybody has to use, I don't know, $10,000 a month worth of credits or something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then by like maybe like March or April, they're like, yeah, we've completely blown through our entire budget for the year. So we need you to stop doing that.
There was a trend earlier. I think it was sometime last year, in amongst like big tech companies and even startups. It was disgusting, but it was called token maxing. And the idea was that they would run like leaderboards to see who could use the most tokens in their work days.
Oh God.
Wow.
Because like they were just they're literally just burning through all their funding and everything, just trying to like be on these. And it was also at large companies like Amazon and Facebook and stuff. Like this was like the thing. And then when the price went up significantly, they're like, yeah, okay, like we had our fun, guys. Like let's stop that now. So, yeah, it's a thing, man. The corporate culture around AI is kind of gross, and not from the perspective of that AI itself is inherently gross, but that
C-suite. Yeah.
it's complete like
Yep.
they man, they think that it's one thing and it just ain't.
Yeah.
And you
Well,
can't
I mean,
convince
they're
them
being
otherwise.
told, right? I mean, everyone who runs in
Yep.
those
They're
circles
being
is
Yep.
saying, "Oh, you got it. What's your plan with AI?" Because I mean, if you don't have one, I mean, come on, you're going to be
you
behind.
don't want to miss out, right?
Yeah. I mean, everybody's doing it. Come on.
Right.
I think
Didn't Michael Jordan tell us to avoid that? Like, I don't know. Like, wasn't that if everyone just says you should do it, say no? Like,
stop.
Yeah.
Get some help.
Pee Wee Herman,
Oh,
said that. Like,
Just say
I don't
no.
know.
So it's really
Yeah.
funny. I've noticed the anytime I have like a sales person, I was gonna say something else. Call me and try and sell me some sort of an AI thing. I'll call them out and say, all right, you realize you just said nothing to me at all, but a bunch of buzzwords. What is this actually going to do? And don't use AI in your set. And when you explain it to me,
Yeah.
what is it doing?
They can't.
Yep.
Well,
like,
it's doing the AI.
Well, we can streamline your blah blah blahs and blizzy blahs and like I don't need the corporate buzzword bingo here. We already filled up the card a long time ago. Let's actually tell me what solutions you're going to provide. Actually, I was really impressed with one
I can just stick my finger down my throat if I want to vomit. Like,
right. In fact, I've called a corporate vomit before in a corporate setting, and people didn't like that. Anyway, so what's funny is so we actually had a company come in and give like a dog and pony show, and they had some developers with them and everything else too. I'm not going to say the company or anything like that because I just don't want to do that. But someone tried to use not from this company, but somebody else tried to use it like talk about like, well, AI this, can AI do that? And one of the developers is like, no, AI can't actually do these things. and he says, we're using and he actually used like terms like large language models and machine learning, things like that actually make a little bit more sense. To take the data and from this data lake and ingest it and turn it to whatever. He actually explained the process, not hey, I'll make a pretty picture anyway. So it was kind of interesting, kind of nice to see that. It was actually refreshing for a change, and it was he was an actual developer. He wasn't a sales guy.
Yeah,
that sounds like the 7 Red Lines video, Adam.
yeah, it does. Yeah. Oh man. So like I'm totally okay with the tech, right? I think the tech is neat. I think it's awesome. Yeah. But man, it's the business and corporate stuff that's spawned around it that just really makes me want to puke in the sink.
Well, I think that's why so many people, especially tech people, just can't stand AI, right? Because we
we could have enjoyed it, but you guys got your hands on it, and it's the 12-year-old white boy effect. Anything cool that gets to 12-year-old white boys gets ruined like within a month. And so like this is it. We just have a bunch of 12-year-old white boys running corporate stuff, and they just ruin the fun every single time.
Yep.
Now, but I will say, not to be contrarian in all this, like I like a lot of these tools that I can use. For instance, if I have like a giant error log, whatever, and I don't know what all this means, and I don't want to look up every little bit of it, I can take that and feed it into some sort of a large language model. It can explain that to me, and that saves me tons of time. I can also take, I don't know how to string together this Kubernetes command to do this thing because I'm trying to find out what the status of this is. It can be a very specific request, and I can get an actual answer. It says, well, first you need to find out this, and then this, and it lays out the steps for me. And then I learned something in that process. And I think that's great because I didn't spend 30 minutes reading through a bunch of documentation without any context. So it actually applied context to the information. And I think that's very valuable. And so I see the value in it, but I don't like the shoehorning it into everything because it needs to be shoehorned in everything, if that makes any sense. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally makes sense.
Because it's the new hotness and you have to have it.
Right.
So what I was saying, like if at that level of a corporation, that upper management or middle management up, that there is this like fervor, like it has to be there. Your investors are going to talk about it on your call. If it's a publicly traded company, they're going to ask, you have to be ready for it.
Yeah.
And, I think if you look at how it's been pitched, it's nebulous enough that every organization has at least enough administrative,
some use case. Yeah.
There's got to be something you can use it for. And so that's how it's making inroads is, like you said, there's all these companies out there that have sliced it into thin layers of like, here's an AI that does this, and here's an AI that does this, and because they're wrapping services around it and everything else, and, custom development. And, so, yeah, I mean, it's becoming rapidly this huge economy, which they're hoping is going to like fill the gap between reality and expectation.
I really don't think it will.
I don't think it will either. I think they've spent more money on this. I just heard some weird statistic, like they've spent more money on AI combined through all these companies than any other like venture ever in the history of the world. Like people have, companies have just,
Dude, when I saw the comparison to like the Marshall Plan from like, let's repair the entirety of Europe after World War II. And it's like a tiny little line compared to what's being spent. And it's like, one could argue that the Marshall Plan was a bit more useful than this. But
exactly. And that's the thing, because they're putting all of this, and this isn't like a trivial amount. If it truly is a bubble, and let's say there's a massive collapse behind all of this, which I don't think there can be at this point. I think that's a little, we're sort of past that, I think. That could have happened maybe. Anyway, and it could happen to a lesser degree, I think, but I don't think there's any way it's going to just fully, pop. But, it's going to ramp down potentially and definitely normalize, just become part of the technology stack. I mean, it's exactly what it is. It's just another slice of something that gets absorbed into into all these workflows and everything else. So, the fervor around it right now, the absolute need to have it, how everything says with AI, right? I mean, it's like, it's like it has to be visible, present, or omnipresent, right? It has to be visible and omnipresent. Like we have AI. It's going to be the most important thing that people see when they open. Like, what does the AI in Zoom do? Can someone explain that to me? Like,
it zooms in.
What does the AI agent in Zoom do that you would need it to do? Like absolutely need it to do where they...
That's the only thing, really.
I guess.
It's transcription. That's the main thing.
So...
Because we have Copilot 365 at work, and that's all I use it for, is transcribing meetings. Because anytime you ask it to do anything complex or, with like Excel or anything, it's just nopes out. It's totally useless.
Yeah.
But hey, okay, it transcribes the meeting. Cool. No one reads
we've been using artificial intelligence for, or machine learning for 30 years now.
Or Sarah or Dave at the table writing it. Like But like the reality is it transcribes it, but no one ever reads it.
Yeah, like, what's the point, right?
Everyone's just like, what I missed in the meeting. It's like, well, it's transcribed. You could have just done it, but they're not going to do that.
At least
it's like, why? I just burned like 5 trees worth of electricity, and
I mean, to me,
one's gonna read it.
The idea of having the full transcript of a meeting and then being able to use AI to boil it down to the things that pertain to me, the like 3 minutes out of an hour that I had to be there for, that would be pretty cool. But you can't get away with it.
Thing ever though is you now have like project managers who are submitting PRs to code bases because the AI has convinced them that they know what they're doing.
Yeah. No.
You also have this phenomenon of, let's say an engineer submits a bulleted list to the project manager, and then they're like, cool, I can turn this into a really wordy Jira story and epic and stuff. So they do that. They pass it in the AI, and it's this huge Jira story written out like it's War and Peace. And then when the engineer pulls the story and they're like, I'm not reading all this. They toss it back into the LLM, tell it to turn it back into a bulleted list.
Right.
They could have just gave him the bulleted list.
Right. That was worth all of that in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And so, like,
also, we didn't have to talk to each other.
Yeah, it's
you
like
know what?
that now, right?
Yeah. But that's what speaks to, though. Stories are necessary, obviously, because it gives you the idea of, what the problem you're trying to solve and all of that, and like how it fits into the greater, I get all that. But people do suck at writing them, and they're annoying to write. So I kind of get why people are doing that. I agree that it would turn it into a completely useless exercise, because if you can't even be the one articulating the story, then that's never going to work properly. Yeah, getting paid to do the job. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. I mean, I think back to my stint in corporate life and how today's technology would have changed so many of the things that I did, and and I think in the realm of AI and LLMs and stuff, that's where I would have used it. So any of the administrative crap that I had to do, unfortunately, because it would have been unfortunate if it didn't work 100% of the time, which it wouldn't. But I also wasn't 100% accurate either. I'd made mistakes, so I don't know. It's a weird thing to chew on.
So, something I had to explain to my director, because there's a group selling us on some like agentic like help desk stuff. Like, I'm not even going to go into the details, but rest assured it's stupid. But I told him, I said, there are two facts you need to think about with this: that agentic AI can do things 10 to 100 times faster than normal people. But agentic AI can also do the wrong thing 10 to 100 times faster than normal people. So if you made mistakes, Eric, you could only make mistakes at the speed of a human. You couldn't make the mistakes at the speed of the AI. So if it's going to get it wrong, oh boy, it's going to get it wrong. And it's going to get it wrong in a speed that you can't recover from.
Yeah, that's a very fair point.
So I want to tell my AI story for this week.
So I mean, I'm not a hater on the whole thing, but like, people have to be realistic about it.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's a little bit different than what we're talking about, I guess, but I needed to reschedule a doctor's appointment, call the number, push this button to talk to somebody. And if I didn't know all the things that I know about AI, I would have swore up and down I was talking to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
She introduced her name, she introduced herself as, "Hi, I'm Mary," I think she said. "How can I help you?" And I said, "I need to reschedule my appointment." And she said, "Well, what day would you like to schedule that for?" I mean, I carried on a 10-minute conversation with this thing, and I knew within, I don't know, 3 or 4 lines that it was AI, and of course, I'm going to try to trip it up. So I said, "Let's make the appointment for September 5th. And she said, "Well, that's on a Saturday and we're not open." "Okay, you got that one." So I said, "Okay, let's set it for September 4th. "Okay, I have these openings. What time do you want?" 3 o'clock. "All right, I have you set for 3 o'clock. Would you like to confirm?" I said, "You know what? Never mind. I need to make it for September 10. And she said, "Okay, on September 10, I have these appointments." It was damn near flawless.
Mm-hmm.
I got off the phone and I was actually impressed. And, to me, AI is not a problem as long as it works. I don't care to talk to something instead of someone, as long as it's good, and that one was good.
Yeah, and there are certain situations where I honestly, if an AI is competent most of the time, and the alternative is the crapshoot that is any kind of support ever that you call on the phone, I think I probably would be okay with a decent AI prompt system or whatever. Because I mean, I would be thinking about it the same way. This is a machine; it's not a human.
Yeah.
I don't expect it to be perfect, but if it can get me to what I need to do, I mean, I'm getting there, right? So
yeah, I would honestly rather call AI than straight talk support.
Well, yes, so that's what I'm saying. Certain organizations support is so bad, you're better off if you can't get it,
Yeah,
or use the
100%.
chat support tends to be better, than phone support is kind of dead now. I don't know. They just must be paying nothing. So.
I mean, guys, frankly, I'm sorry that my story threw a Molotov cocktail into the Linux Saloon here.
It absolutely did. We probably should move on. But I do want to say though, like, we've been using like robot phone trees for well over a decade at this point. So it's just another iteration on that. You still eventually get to a real person if you really need to, so it's not like it's taking away jobs there necessarily. But I think I agree that if it gets me to my solution quicker, and and it reduces my frustration, I don't have to say, scream the same thing in the phone several times before it just sends you to an operator, like with the old phone tree systems. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, I do want to get to the straw poll because that was supposed to happen like a good 30 minutes ago, or more, 40 minutes ago. But anyway, this is an interesting conversation, and I do really like. I do like how we're having a balanced approach to all this, as opposed to the marketing wankery. But yeah, it's an interesting time we're living in, and I'm not really worried about any of it. I think it'll all level out eventually, and hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully, prices for hardware comes back down, right? MGS?
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
Have you looked at the prices of Raspberry Pi 5s? They're very proud of these things.
No, not lately.
Oh, go look at that.
I've had a 500 for like years now, I think, whenever it first came out, but I haven't checked lately.
Yeah, check it out. You'll like it. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the straw poll. So thank you for Mike for what you've been doing in Linux and tech. It's been quite in depth. So the straw poll, if you haven't done it yet, got a little bit of time here. I'll read some of the responses first. HealingLight.com/polls. I'll put it in there real quick again. But so some of the responses for can you type without looking at the keyboard? I don't know. Can we hear type without looking at the keyboard? I do all the time. And the reason I learned to touch type was because watching Data on Star Trek: The Next Generation was my inspiration as a child to learn to touch type. Isn't that silly? But that's what it was.
Yeah. Mavis Beacon helped me out. So.
Oh, Mavis Beacon is pretty awesome.
I learned how to touch type. I learned how to touch type on a manual antique typewriter, the kind where you have to move the button that far in order to get it to slap. Yep. You're muted.
You guys, this thing.
The arms.
You have to. Yep. You have to touch type on this thing.
Oh yes, of course you do.
Yeah,
that's pretty crazy. There, we had one of this IBM Select type, that like the ball. Remember? Did you see it? Remember that one? How that even thing works?
The green machine. Yeah.
This one was tan. But
okay, ours was green for whatever reason.
But when I watch those things, like, how was that thing even made? Like, that to me is crazy that even works like it does. And that was designed, what, in the 60s or 70s?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's some cool older tech that you think pre-transition, like pre-computer, like how does that work? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it. How did you do that without an ESP32? I don't know.
So, did you guys not have keyboarding class in school?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Not in class. I was sent to some tech classes after school because I was enthusiastic about it, and that's where I learned.
Okay. I mean, that's what I learned in, I guess that was 7th grade, 8th grade, maybe 9th grade. I'm
Yeah,
not
it was
sure.
like middle school, yeah, for me as well.
It was 5th, 6th grade for me. We had I learned on an Apple IIe, but I translated those skills to my Commodore 64 at home, of course. So,
yeah.
But anyway,
Chiclet keys. Well, that wasn't too bad. Yeah. Anyway, yes.
Those are regular, like the Apple II. Those are nice keyboards. The 2E, 2C even. But
so,
yes.
Sure, go ahead.
So some of the comments that I got for the Can You Touch Type Like a Keyboard? Slooner1 says, yes, I can once I get the right offset. Whee. I don't know what that means. And Slooner2, yes, but switching keyboards often complicates it. That's true. Another, I am chronically online and a keyboard is very important to me. Slooner4 says, no, I cannot, and I'm not fussed, and I'm not fussed. I type well enough for my needs. What I can't do is get my fingers to type the correct words. Even when looking at it, even when I look at what I'm doing. Slooner5 says, I've been typing since I was 10. My teacher couldn't read my handwriting. She found out that my mother was a secretary, so she asked her to teach me to type. I learned on an IBM Selectric. That's awesome. Selectric 1 and 2. Watching that little globe spin around was so cool. I took typing in college for an essay credit. I had been typing for 8 years. Mine wanted to fail me because I didn't use the correct fingering on each key. My mother went to the dean to complain. Long story short, he watched me type and said he passed. Slooner6 says, my penmanship was so bad I took typing in 9th grade. Best educational thing I ever did in high school. Slooner7, typing classes started in 2nd grade with my daughter's school. Part of their homework was monkey type. The 13-year-old is now faster than me, and the 10-year-old is close. Slooner8 said, I was kicked out of keyboarding class in 8th grade because I could already type much faster than the teacher. She thought I was trying to get an easy A. In fact, I would have learned to touch type. I actually could do fine if I didn't look at the keyboard, but for whatever reason, I still don't have the confidence to consistently not look. Slooner9 says, I do touch typing always, and I also have keyboards with no label that I use as well. Not sure how, but I never look at the keys there either. And then, so this Mo Moop on Mastodon said, Cubicle 8, I'm going to read what they wrote. Ich benutze blank keycaps, auch die Tastatur schauen werde gar nichts bringen, which means I use blank keycaps. Looking at the keyboard wouldn't help at all. Anyway, that was in German, which I butchered. I even practiced it ahead of time. But anyway, so
yeah. So I did have keyboarding classes similar to what Eric was referring to in middle school, but I was really terrible at it, and I just didn't care and didn't pay attention, and so then I ended up basically having to do it the hard way in my 20s. Like I was just one day I was like, you know what, I'm kind of tired of looking at the keyboard. This is kind of uncool. So I just took the time and put the effort into it, and eventually, got good enough to touch type. It took a while, right? Probably about 3 months or so of just trying my best. And I think on a QWERTY keyboard, I can type I don't know, 80, 90 words a minute. Not super fast, but fast enough. And then recently I got, bad hands, bad wrists, as one does. And I went to split keyboards. And so I had to learn to type on that. But at the same time, I learned how to type on a Colmac DH layout, which I can also touch type on. So it's kind of neat. Turns out unlearning QWERTY to learn that temporarily is harder than just learning QWERTY to begin with.
Yeah, because unlearning. Sorry.
I was just Adam, do you have a Dactyl Manuform? Have you tried it?
No, I have a ZSA Voyager and a ZSA Moonlander. Those are the ones I use.
Oh, yeah, my wife's got a Moonlander.
Yeah, I was going to ask if anyone typed in anything besides QWERTY, because I haven't ever really tried anything else.
I had learned how to type Dvorak I don't know, about 15 years ago, but I didn't stick with it, so I kind of lost it.
But it was the one during my
yeah.
career that they were like, if you're going to learn any other one, learn Dvorak, and I just never did.
It made sense if that's the alternative you're going to learn, because like it was available on all the like operating systems and stuff, right? It was easier to onboard in that way, but
yeah, but I mean, nothing was sold with. I mean, not nothing, but you know, it just wasn't common. So kind of go with the flow on that one. But I'm the same way. I'm left-handed. I've never been good at writing by hand, simply because of having to drag my hand across the page, and you know, I just am not good at writing. I consistently failed handwriting whenever I was younger. I thought it was the most unfair class ever, because I was like, I'm trying to write and I can't do it. So, yeah, I hated that class so much.
But
anyway,
my motivations for learning the other layout was pain, RSI, right? I think I'm surprised. I'd be curious if any of you others suffer from it at all, because boy, it's a thing for me.
I'm sorry, suffer from what?
RSI, repetitive strain injury.
Yeah, RSI.
Oh, you know, the only time I ever had like a stress with my wrists is when I re-roofed a house, and then it was really difficult to type, like at work during the day and then work on the house at night. But I've not had, that was like in my early 20s. Ooh, Jinda, what'd you do to your wrist? You smash it with a hammer?
You pretty much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it smashed it with a bunch of stuff over the years.
Yeah, but that's really the only time I've ever really noticed anything where my wrists hurt. I mean, I use this 8-bit do mechanical keyboard that with the Commodore 64 colors, and makes me happy. By the way, I think we should go back to beige. And I don't have any issues, but I don't rest my wrists. I kind of float them. I don't know if that makes a difference. So my wrists are kind of in a neutral. I hold them up a little bit. I don't know if that makes a difference, but that's just how I'm used to typing. So, but anyway, whatever that. Maybe just I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea on that.
I had a bone spur once in my right index finger, and I think it was from typing, but once it started growing, I had to have surgery on it because I just couldn't stand the pain anymore. It was terrible. Right where your finger connects to your hand, that fold, it felt like someone was sticking pins into it.
It's like you're, oh, wow.
Yeah, it was bad.
But yeah, the split keyboard gave me like relief. There was some pain initially, like probably for about 2 weeks, and I wouldn't say pain, it's more like soreness, right? It's not like excruciating. But after that sort of adaptation pain, you know, because like I'm asking my hands to do something new, and they're upset about it. After that, like it's a huge improvement. Can't play video games with it, which is a bummer, but I'm never, you know, it's not for that. So
wait, why? Just because the position of the keys just doesn't line up?
Yeah, it's not very comfortable for gaming, in my opinion. But also, I use a different layout on the split keyboards. So I use Comac DH on a split keyboard and QWERTY on a normal keyboard, and I just swap between the two. And so, like, whenever my hands are I'm feeling the hurt, I just move to split keyboard.
Gotcha.
Or if I'm working, I use the split keyboard.
That's cool. I guess let's go into look at the results here for, can you type without looking at the keyboard? So let's go ahead and check out these results here if I can find my mouse. Where's my mouse? So it looks like in first place, 73% with yes. Second place, 90% with no, and then 8 others. Text ping, we've got no votes. So kind of makes me wonder if that's pretty close to what it is here in the general Linux Saloon. But anyway, I thought it was a fun straw poll. I got someone in the shadows behind me. But anyway, So I saw in the chat, not to beat a dead horse, but there was someone who actually specifically asked for Drew. He's really interested on your take on the AI discussion. Son of Drew, if you wanted to provide your take.
Yeah. Well, I think we beat AI to death, haven't we?
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, okay, there's a lot of different levels to this. I mean, we can talk about the corporate level where I know a bunch of execs that are using it for a number of different things in terms of like even using it for HR, for example. One of the guys I was talking to last week was, using it for identifying attrition rates and what he could do with, trying to keep people that are good employed at his company. So trying to eliminate attrition rates in that regard. And in another regard, he's like, okay, so do we replace some of these other people? And so the whole idea was it's a 5-year plan basically in using AI to identify undervalued performers, overvalued performers, and so on. It's an interesting kind of notion in what they are attempting to do. I don't know how successful that will be based on some of the metrics that he was telling me about. As far as self-hosting, I was going to mention this. If many of you are using searching, SEARXNG, as a self-hosted search engine or a meta search, there's kind of an add-on to that called Vein. And if you're doing any type of research, maybe that's the best way to frame that. It's kind of a nice extension to add on to searching. You can use a mod, and it's private. That was the other part of it. It's private. And so if you're using Vein and you're incorporating a really lightweight model, it becomes very, very responsive because you can look at it from searching as being kind of the librarian, and then Vein on top of that kind of provides a search, a way to kind of combine these searches and actually make it worthwhile. I know I didn't explain that very well, but a self-hosted idea, in case you're interested, it's called Vein.
Have you successfully deployed
you want me to go on?
Yeah, I know. I'm just curious. Have you deployed it and you actually use it on a regular basis, or is this something that you
Vein
used? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually using it right now. I mean, I just type I'm self-hosting it. So I just type :V space and then ask a question, and it then provides an answer based on that. Yeah. So.
Got it.
So I'm actually self-hosting Vein on my TrueNAS Scale server.
And how much horsepower does that take? I mean, does that use a lot of computational resources? No. Okay.
No, nothing. My TrueNAS Scale doesn't have a dedicated discrete graphics or anything. It's just kind of integrated. Yeah. But I do use Claude for many other things, and use it in command line for a number of my wife and I were kind of designing a grist system. I don't know if anybody's familiar with grist, and it really helped with creating the formulas necessary to get the outputs that we were trying to get out. It's useful. It's useful in some of this.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I actually hadn't heard of either of these. I'm going to try to just take a look and see if they would be something interesting to try. I don't know.
Searching has been around for a while. I mean, and I like that because it is private. Even if I'm asking just a regular query that you would normally put into, let's say, Google's search, you still remain private. Even though it's passing it and then coming back to you, it incorporates several different search engines. So you can use Google and Bing and Brave and DuckDuckGo, and it will then kind of weigh those results into your results. Vane, on the other hand, looks at those results and then does something with it.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Thanks.
That's cool. That's actually, it's good because
that was
something
that was the long short version of my AI.
No, I think I like it because you're providing. I mean, AI is a valuable tool. There's privacy concerns, and you just provided a couple of solutions for working around some of those privacy concerns by self-hosting it in a very reasonable way. So, and that gets you around the cost of spending lots of money on tokens, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I still have a budget for using Claude. A corporate account that does a lot of interesting things, but a lot of that I can't talk about. So
I wouldn't expect you to.
Yeah.
And we don't do nothing proprietary here with where you work.
Yeah.
We don't need to put somebody in some sort of trouble or whatever. That would be silly. Yeah. Well, very cool. No, it's good. I want to get your input on some things. So something else I'd like some input on from people. File systems. Do you guys ever get caught up on file systems before you do something as simple as format a flash drive, or is that an exclusively me problem? So
I have specific ones that I use for specific things, and I just use those.
So I got this.
I make sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just F2FS for gaming. Otherwise, I don't really care.
I'm sorry. Which file system?
F2FS.
I don't know. I know that one.
It's designed specifically for NVMe flash drives and stuff.
Oh, okay.
I think Cache's rights to longer the life, but as someone that plays a lot of fighting games, I really, really, really care about latency. So that's why I use CacheOS. But yeah.
So this is the first I've ever heard of that. F2FS. It's a NAND flash memory storage.
I think it came from Samsung.
Yeah. That's interesting. So I wanted this came with FAT32, and I thought, is it even worth doing anything with I automatically wanted exFAT, because it's the higher limits, and I wasn't sure about is it even worth it, and so I kind of looked into it. So FAT32 has a max single file size of 4 gigabytes. exFAT is practically unlimited, 16 whatever EBs are. I don't know what that even is.
Exabytes.
Okay. And then as a max volume size, about 2 terabytes practical limit. And then exFAT is extremely large. So that wouldn't bother with this at all. They're both cross-platform. Performance is better on exFAT. And then exFAT will work on modern flash storage, whatever. So I just thought it was interesting. I just kind of went down a rabbit hole. I don't know if anybody here goes down those rabbit holes before about file systems, or if that's just a very esoteric nerd conundrum.
Yeah. Done that
so the
before.
only reason I wouldn't use exFAT on a removable drive is if I needed file ACLs or permissions. That's really the only reason.
So I put PS2 ISO images on here so I can play them on another device. That's what I'm using it for.
They're open to everyone.
Right. Oh yeah, no, if there's any kind of file permission stuff, I would never do that. But
no, I'm just saying that, yeah, for that use case, yeah, obviously pointless, but that's the only reason I would have anything other than exFAT on a removable drive like that.
So I know that exFAT has Windows and macOS fully support it, so it's cross-platform, no problems. and native support in Linux kernel for that. But anyway, that was just kind of a thing I kind of fell down recently because of buying this. So, but it came pre-formatted with FAT32. That's actually why I was curious.
Yeah, you should wipe it anyway.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I don't need the DMG image for macOS or anything. Doesn't help me out. So, yeah. Anyway, less interesting, obviously, than AI discussion.
You know what? I actually do. Not to belabor it, but I mean, I do like to every so often, like maybe 3 years, 4 years, I will just sort of sweep through file systems. So you're not the only one who looks at them. It's not something I look at for a long time, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I'm interested now, and I learn it all again, and then I promptly forget it.
I was a bummer that Riser FS got killed off.
Well, there was some other killing that got involved with that one too, so that's what happens.
I went down that rabbit hole when I was trying to copy some stuff, and you got files or folders, I think it is, or certain files that have links, and FAT32 won't allow you to copy anything with links, right? So just trying to find a file system that does that. XFAT didn't work. Try to cut a couple other things, didn't work either. So FAT32 is okay, but it's restricted, yeah.
I think if I had to transport something that had symbolic links or something like that, I would probably just put it in an archive, right? Like tar.gz or something, put it in there.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I never thought of that, to be honest. Something so simple, eh?
It's all good.
Yeah, I never thought of that. Duh. Thanks for the tip.
Yep. You got it.
So,
oh boy.
If you go to, like, I don't know if anyone here has KDE Partition Manager, or maybe gPart does the same thing, but they have a file system support list. And I just thought it was kind of interesting. And this is obviously what my system supports, but like a lot of these I just didn't even hear of. So some are green across the board, like Btrfs, XFAT you can't grow or shrink apparently.
Online you can't. Yeah.
Was that what that is?
Yeah, XFAT or XFS is really like finicky about resizes, so you have to do them offline. So the disk has to be unmounted and uninitialized and all that to do the resize.
Oh, okay. Well, it looks like your favorite
bane of everyone, the bane of every single Red Hat admin in the world is running out of space on the disk and XFS.
Yeah. See, I can't shrink it. Yep. And then ZFS. Apparently I can't do a lot of things with that. Okay, I just thought it was interesting. The file system rabbit hole. So apparently NTFS is getting better Linux support as of recent. Or I don't know if anyone's heard. I guess there's been some work on it. It's some improvements there. I don't know. I didn't.
I just wish they'd make the transfer rates between USB devices, external devices, faster. I mean, I don't know. By today's standards, we should be pushing a minimum of like 300 megabytes a second on a USB drive to your computer or from your computer to the drive.
I think it depends largely on the drive itself. If it's USB 3 or 2, there's a lot of factors that go into that. But yeah, there's not a consistent
that's why
speed.
I was just going to say, I think that's why FireWire and Thunderbolt, I think, not FireWire, yeah, Thunderbolt. I always say FireWire. Anyway, yeah. So Thunderbolt, and I think that's the reason it even still exists is for those people like you're saying that have a specialty need to be able to like push files fast enough. So, or you can do external GPUs with Thunderbolt, right? Think so?
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Anyway, so you do still have some use cases for a higher data rate, but I think it's specialized enough that's why I think sort of USBs works for everybody. I agree. I mean, especially because of the way the caching works and stuff and the write speeds, like, the bigger your flash drive is, you get into like copying lots of files and the first, X percent of it is quick and then it just runs out of buffer and cache and now you're just sitting there waiting for that trickle. So
there's a super nerdy reason for that around like queuing levels and storage devices and controllers, and it's like
I know.
What a mess. Like,
if you dig into that, that's a fun one to like figure out like why does it do that? Why is it fast for a little while and then gets really, really slow? So yeah. Unless you pay a lot of money.
So that's the reason I thought that they were coming up with different file systems is because to make the transfer rates faster, but that never was the predominant issue.
Well, a lot of that I know has to do with some of the communication with the actual the device itself. So the device itself also does some processing, but the CPU does take CPU cycles to talk to it in the language it wants to, like whatever file system you're talking to. Like I think with USB, but specific, it varies from drive to drive. So like the cheaper the drive, likely the longer it's going to take to actually complete the write process. And if you plug in like an external NVMe, those things are pretty much instantaneous. You don't have all that buffering going on.
But yeah, I mean, and it's always been the way of if you get a first gen drive and put it in with a second gen drive and a third gen drive, and one's the fastest in the world. If you put it in with those drives, it automatically dumbs them down. Otherwise, the communication is completely screwed.
Well, it depends on if they're on the same like USB chain. Because if you have different, so the way USB is broken down, you have different controllers, and so if you put like a slow thing on one side and a fast thing on the other, that won't be a problem. But it depends on your USB controller because there's lots of variables in that. A lot of newer stuff actually handles a lot better. So you can have like also depending upon the hub you're putting it into. So the hubs can automatically negotiate like with the controller chip in there to maximize performance.
So I found that very true with my poor man's USB SAN. Putting it on a different controller than my front panel USB jack made a big difference in copying files back and forth.
Yep.
Well, and I don't understand why the industry didn't take a smart transaction or whatever you want to call it, to where rather than having motherboards sold to the consumer that have USB 1, 2, 3, 4, 60, 80, 30, 50, all on one board, why not force the people to go, okay, we've been using USB 2 for 10 years now, 12 years. Let's go ahead and drop that and only put USB 3 on this board to force people to buy the proper cables, the proper USB devices, etc., so they can actually fully optimize their systems.
Well, there's some reasons for that. You do have the issues of cost is one part. You also have issues of you have to have backwards compatibility. So you have to have the those components still on board, be able to do that. Otherwise, you're going to lose compatibility with lots of things.
Right.
But as far as like, I mean, we have USB 1.1, which has been, nothing is that anymore, but I think they still have backwards compatibility to that. So the USB 2 controller modules, the actual,
right,
whatever, that will negotiate at those speeds. but USB 3 is actually different signaling than USB 2. It uses the USB 2 and the extended signaling. And then when you get into Thunderbolt or USB 4, that actually you have even more complexity in there, but you have to be backwards compatible. And here, a fun little tidbit there is, if you use like a Thunderbolt cable on a USB 2 device, but it's using USB-C form factor, that won't actually work. It won't do anything, which I thought was very interesting. So you have to actually have a USB 2 cable to be able to accommodate for that.
It would have been nice if it would have actually spewed flames out or something, you know?
Well, I'm kind of glad it didn't, because then I would have had to fix it. But yeah,
you could fix it.
Maybe.
I had to fix my dryer recently, so that was fun.
I've had a dryer fire before. That was back when I worked for the appliance company I bought the dryer from, which is kind of funny. Anyway,
okay. Cool.
That's another story for another time. I did want to bring up something else here. So are there a lot of Arch users here still? Are people still using Arch, by the way?
Yep. Yep, by the way, yep. Yep, CashOS, yep, it's Arch.
Okay. I just wasn't sure anymore. People still used Arch. So Valve has been working, they want Arch on ARM. And there's a bunch of news stories out there about that. Has anybody seen any of the news stories on that?
That's what the Steam frame is.
First I've heard.
Yeah, so basically, Collabora, I think that's how it's pronounced, announced that the first preview of the Halo core, the first official Arch Linux ARM 64 port for Valve's Steam Frame Gaming VR headset. So apparently being launched later this year to join the Steam Deck, Steam Machine, the other Steam controllers. So does that interest anybody, like having an ARM based Arch? Does that do anything for anybody?
The Raspberry Pi 500, maybe.
What do you do with it?
Don't the P5s have an ARM chip in them?
Yeah, they've got one.
I'm not sure what you mean by P5.
The Pi 5.
Oh, Pi 5? Yeah, the
Raspberry
Pis are
Pi.
ARM based. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that would be the only reason I would be interested in it, is if I had a Raspberry Pi, which I've been considering, but yeah.
Check the prices out lately?
Not happening right now. Yeah, they're a little much, at least over here, at least at Micro Center.
Yeah, I know that Adam, you had an ARM based laptop for a while. I think you bought it last year sometime.
Yeah, I have, and also I have a Mac as well. But yeah.
Oh, okay. So is there value in that to you? Or
the problem is the ARM machines that I have experience with are all extremely locked down machines. They are not other operating system friendly. For example, look at the amount of effort it took just to get Linux on the M1 series, and then that sort of thing, right? Because these machines, even the PCs, are extremely like custom hardware, and the bootloaders are not super friendly to other things, like the EFI firmware. They're not super friendly to other bootloaders, and it would take someone to very specifically target that sort of thing. But I've never used any device like that.
What about Raspberry Pis? Wait, do you have a Snapdragon also at one time? A Snapdragon computer?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, they were. It was not particularly friendly to other OSs. Yeah.
Yeah, you can get
as far as Raspberry Pis go, I have
start-
like a Pi 4 sitting in a drawer somewhere.
Yeah, you can get a Raspberry Pi 5 starter kit Pro, 8 gigabytes of memory for $269. Then you turn around and you get just a straight 16 gig board for $279 with no case, adapters, none of that stuff.
Remember when
crazy.
pies were $40?
Yeah, that's what I was just
Yep.
thinking.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
$35.
like I mentioned, I have a Pi 4 8 gig in a drawer somewhere because I was like, it's cheap, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah.
And now it's like, wait a minute, that thing's
Yeah, I did
expensive.
that. I think with a 2 or a 3, and I was like, same thing. I used it as a Pi hole for a while, and I was just kind of like, you know what? I don't need a whole like computer to do that. So,
Right.
yeah, a lot of the things that used to be like Pi based, use cases where it was like this little server, that little service. I feel like containerization kind of ate that up a little. So, running a Docker container kind of does the same thing. You can run Pi-hole as a Docker container on a different machine, and so that's what I'm saying. Because you have to set it up so that you have SSH remotely, which it's not that big of a deal to put in the configuration file or whatever. And then you set it all up, and it's slow as hell. And you're just trying to get the updates done, and it's like, okay, well, I'll be letting that happen for the next 2 hours or whatever. Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, if all I'm trying to do is a microservice or a small, service, then just run it in a container and on a machine where you can run multiples of that type of thing. And oh, by the way, the updates are going to take 15 seconds instead of 15 hours. So
You mentioned that, and I think a big thing that kind of killed that for me was like the fact that you have like NAS devices that run containers.
yeah,
Something like a
exactly.
True NAS
You
and
can get a
stuff.
Synology NAS and
Right, yeah. And you're like, I'm going to be running this anyway. So like, why not just run it on there instead of running the specific Pi, right?
Yeah. I mean, I get, unless you're using the pins, like and you're using the hardware interface, the use cases for Pi seem a little weak to me. But
So at work we use them for they're in the scale heads, and so when someone pushes a button for a ticket or whatever, it handles all that and does all the transactions. I'm sure you could probably do it with something else, but it's convenient and easy to deploy. And
yeah. Well, I know someone who made hygrometers that were able to test for liquid, well, for humidity, I guess. And if an area flooded,
we created those at our school system.
I didn't want to name you in case you didn't want to
it's okay.
take credit.
No, it's all good. Yeah, we put it underneath the we put it underneath the data center floor, like the false floor. Because we had the chillers in there, and every so often they would break and like leak all over the place. So we put those under there.
Yeah. Yeah, you can get a Raspberry Pi 4 starter kit for $189.99, but that's only 4 gigs of memory. So
I'll tell you
Home Assistant.
a good notch, a vertical market for them is for dashboards, like displaying dashboards on large TVs in an office.
Well,
that kind of thing.
I was just getting ready to point out, I also see where you can get a 10x1 touchscreen with mounts for the 5, 4, 3B, whatever, blah, 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 3 plus for $85.99. It's so funny that the touchscreen is now less than the actual device.
Yeah. I've also used one for a weather station. I built a weather station with one. Yeah. So
had all the cool whipping vane antennas and stuff.
Just wind speed, moisture content, temperature, and wind direction.
I always thought those were cool when I saw them.
And a little camera to look out on. This for our RC flying field. And you can check the weather there. So it uploads to a
yeah, I mean, I think there are numerous little fun things you can do with a Raspberry Pi. Oh, looks like it's dropped out.
base.
He's still with us there, Nate?
Cellular
Is he
Wi-Fi.
back?
Yeah, he's back.
Lost me
locked
for
up
a bit.
There he is.
Yeah.
I watched everything die out. Everything just went boom. I spent between satellites. Well, pies are pretty cool when it's a good use case for it, I suppose. Anyway. So should probably move on to the housekeeping. We're kind of rapidly running out of time here. All right. So next week there will not be a Linux Saloon. I'll have a down week. I will be at the county fair. So it'll be the last night of the county fair, and I don't want to.
Yeah, ours just finished.
Yeah. So that's why.
Will you be showing your guns like you did today?
No. At least not on purpose.
And we must reiterate, when he says guns, he means arms. He doesn't mean actual devices. Otherwise, you'll get tagged on YouTube.
So guns are actually what they mount on top of ships. Those are guns.
Yes.
I don't have a ship or a boat. I have a canoe.
Or a dinghy?
Nope, I have a canoe.
Yeah, but you got those two, you know.
Or a kayak.
Yeah, but maybe it's a kayak. No, it's a single person, so maybe it is a kayak. I don't know. Anyway, it's in my garage over there. But anyway, so yeah, next week. So the week after, we'll have a Linux Saloon, and that will be a application appetizer. So I don't have anything picked out, so I'll maybe put some straw polls up and try to figure it out, and whatever from there. If not, it'll be like a free for all again. You know, pick your favorite flat pack or something along those lines. So whatever cool applications you're using or working on, or maybe Mike can give a demonstration on all his applications.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, I know. It's all right. So anyway, but that will be the following week. I don't have a early edition time picked out yet, so we'll get that. I'll get it on the calendar as soon as I have a good day for that. And if you go to cubiclenate.com/Linux Saloon, you can there's a calendar there of all the upcoming events, so you can check that out. All right. Also, if you have any discussion suggestions, distribution suggestions, or application ideas, poll ideas, whatever you got, send them to suggestions@linuxsaloon.com, or you can tag it in the Telegram or Discord area for funsies. All right, go ahead and move on to last call. If anybody had anything going around the horn here, anybody had anything you'd like to fire out there? What you're working on? Anything exciting, Eric?
I really don't, and I won't take up any time from others. But I'm just happy that you were doing it tonight, and we'll see you when you get back.
I think you do lots of interesting things.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
But thanks for being here. Hip Dad. What sort of hip dad things
sir.
are going on? Yeah.
Trying to finish up my first mini split system install. That's been a thorough pain in the butt because it's a 3-hour round trip to the place, but I'm going to try to finish that up tomorrow. I've had gout in my foot. If anybody's ever had gout, yeah, I wish it not on anybody.
Yeah.
Sounds terrible.
Yeah. Don't like it.
Isn't that from like eating too much red meat and drinking too much
It's
wine?
the pits.
Oh.
I don't know. I've never had it.
First time I got it, I couldn't even, I literally had to crawl to the bathroom.
So what do you do? Like,
Yeah,
I've had
pretty bad.
like a blister, or what do you do for gout?
Oh, no, you have to take medication for it.
Oh.
And properly watch your diet, which I really do great. No, that's a fib. I'm lousy at watching diets and figures.
It's high acidity is one of the main things, I think. You get a little tablet, brings your acidity down, and it mainly targets the ball on the foot, the big toe mainly. Don't know where yours is, but that's where mine was. I think a lot of it, it's like that. It's pretty bad. Plantar fasciitis is another one. Plantar fasciitis is another one that's really bad. Don't know if you've had that before. You heard of that before, plantar fasciitis?
Yeah, before switching to the Vibram 5-finger shoe, I used to get plantar fasciitis from running, but then I went to the minimalist running style. And I don't get that anymore. Well, cool. Well, Hip Dad, I hope you can work that out.
And
good luck with that.
I appreciate it.
I'm gonna hop to full scale for me, Mike. What do you got going on?
Part 2 being Mr. Nowhere Man, but I'm going through my checklist of the last of the blog posts to be uploaded, and I've hit the halfway point. So
nice.
I'm almost done.
For MX Linux.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Big update on the hibernation article.
Oh, cool. Are you gonna break down the different S states of the CPU of the computer and how it goes through all that?
Yeah, and the gotchas that a lot of people hit by not having the prerequisites, which for a lot of people means reinstallation.
I went down a rabbit hole.
Terminal phobia. Yeah.
So there's S0 through S5, and then so 0 is working, 1 is sleeping with CPU context maintained, 2 is sleeping but CPU context lost, 3 is standby suspend to RAM, 4 is hibernate/suspend to disk, and 5 is soft off. So completely shut down. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. Those are your 5 run states.
Yep.
Good times. Well, thanks for being here. Jinda.
Yes, Nate.
We can give you your Hot Wheels recommendation for the week.
Hey. Hot Wheels recommendation? Oh, don't start buying them because you won't stop.
Oh.
That's pretty much my... Yeah, try not to buy them because you'll go, oh, they're cute. And then you go, oh, this one's cute too. And then you get too many of them.
When you're younger, do you ever have the tracks? You put it down and have it like the loops and everything else?
Yeah. I had too many feet of that when I was a kid.
Oh, yep. And you can get smacked in the rump with it when your parents are mad.
Yes.
Plastic that. I just thought to say that, and then I thought, would people be like horrified to hear corporal punishment with one of those? But this is the first thing I think of whenever I think of a length of that. I used to get hit with it.
Yeah.
And dude, it would leave some marks too.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, it hurt.
Yeah.
It hurt.
They didn't have to hit you very many. Only like 2.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
And they got the point across.
Yeah.
The one worse than that was when your parent or grandparent or caregiver would say, okay, I need you to go out back and I need you to pick a switch and I want you to clean it off real good because then I'm going to whack you with it.
I never had that. Wooden spoon.
Well, I never got hit
by
one.
it.
I was too busy crying by the time I got back with the stick.
Yeah. Anyway,
I still think I know we're. Never mind. Yeah, I don't need to say it.
Well, Jinda, thank you for the violence-inducing.
Yeah, thanks, man. For the PTSD, I'm going to sit here and shake all night. I'm just
Thanks
kidding.
for being here, Drew.
Thank you.
How you doing? Thanks for being here.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
What kind of exciting things do you have to plug for us?
Yeah, I'm working on Quick Shell, and I'm trying to improve some user experience in a couple of the projects that I've been working on. Most of them are X11 window managers. I did put out a new ISO this week for my butter knife project. So yeah, a lot of like stuff, just stuff.
you have any links to those projects you want to share?
Sure. The ISO is on Butterbean. That's ButterBian. So it's butter and then the second part of Debian. So Butterbean .org. And then my Butterforge is at justaguy.dev.
So you're involved with Butterbean?
He is.
That's my project.
Oh.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
Any other live streams or shows that you're a part of?
I right now I'm in like Matt from the Linux Cast and I are in this kind of like death match. We have to put out one video or one live stream per week, or the other one has a significant penalty to pay. And I've been compliant with that. So I did put out a video this past Tuesday, and it's been harder and harder. The more you do, it seems like the further it is, or the harder it is for you to actually come up with like a topic, even though it seems the exact opposite would be true. Or maybe it's just that I don't care nearly as much about YouTube as I used to. And I'd actually like, if I have an hour to spend, I'm going to spend it somewhere else rather than trying to create content. Although I did hit the 13,000 subscriber mark fairly recently, and over 150 videos. But like I said, it's been more and more challenging just putting out something like on a weekly basis. Live streams do count, so maybe that's maybe where I'm headed this next week, so that I don't have to think of anything original.
Now, does it have to be Linux stuff only, or can it be his little farm?
Oh, yeah, that doesn't count. that doesn't count. His gaming does not count. So yeah, it has to be Linux related. It has to be on his own channel, even though he has the super noob channel as well.
Well, I got those links in the show notes. So if somebody's interested.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, appreciate it.
Visit your stuff. No, I like to, people who do things, I want to push people over to other stuff. So.
Yeah, I don't want a shameless plug, so I appreciate that. Yeah.
Oh no, I like plugs. That's kind of the whole idea. We're talking about stuff that we do. It's nerdy talk, you know. So thank you for being here, Colin. This is your once a month visit.
Yo,
I'm glad it wasn't next week.
Yeah, I'm glad it was this week because I have missed a couple here and there as well. So it's just pot luck when I'm at home, whether you guys are on or not. I can honestly say that speaking of AI, and I don't know what's going on, whether my internet's slow or not, but you guys have been crackling up all night, or all morning for me. So very hard for me to keep up with the conversation. I don't know whether it's Discord or the internet or that's normal. I don't know. It seems to happen all the time on here.
See all the above.
Yeah, it's not obviously nothing to do with my settings.
Hey, Colin. For what it's worth, I've been having terrible Discord problems for the last several months. And last week I finally just decided to use I decided to use the web. Fine. Well, I decided to use the web version. I'll write it in a message. I'll type it out. Anyway.
Web version. Okay, fair enough. I'll check. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I can. Yeah. It's just sometimes Nate seems to be the worst one. I don't know why. Maybe because you're running the whole thing. But I was I didn't get yet. Sorry?
I'm told that in many groups that I'm the worst one, so it's all right. I get it.
Okay, that's cool. That's all right. I sort of can keep up, but sometimes I just miss a lot of important things that people say, but that's fine. But just talking on AI, I didn't get involved with the AI, but just when Eric said there's a duck AI one there I didn't realise was there until Eric mentioned it. I just seen I was generating some pictures or some images on Duck AI, and I can just see how much of an advantage that would be just for producing thumbnails for a video, which I haven't done for a few years now, instead of messing around in GIMP and all that. So that would be an absolute game changer for creating thumbnails, I must say. Save a lot of time. Just looking at advantages of AI, that one would be one huge advantage. But I don't know how much of an advantage is for other things, because there's, people have been talking about how, it doesn't produce what they really want as far as coding's concerned. So, just thought I'd put my few cents worth in for that one. But it's always good to be here, Nate. Always appreciate you running this show here. It's fantastic, and great to be here. I'm not really doing much as far as anything Linux at the moment, so all I can say is I'm running Cosmic Desktop on my on that Surface Go. Have been for quite a long time now, and seems to be working fine. So that's good.
Well, it's always good to have you, Colin, and thanks for being here, despite the technical challenges we seem to be having.
Yep, thanks.
It's been great.
Yeah, that's tech, isn't it? It's the way it goes.
It is. It's the way the cookie crumbles. War Thunder.
Yeah, it's the way the cookie crumbles, yeah.
Is your PEBCAC error all worked out?
The best I can give you as an answer right now is my Linux-firmware was corrupt. Something about the current Ubuntu kernel through hardware enablement, just my AMD, the AMD firmware was all completely broken. Like, just completely broken, would not work. I was seeing flashing yellow screens. I could load in no mode set to our lovely 800 by 600 of the 1990s. I grabbed the firmware from Linux firmware-git, and now I'm here, and it's working fine. So I need to go look into that more and why that was a thing. But in terms of projects and stuff, I've been so busy. My channel has just existed. I have not forgotten to log in, but I need to work on some stuff. I still have the Atari that has SteamOS on it. But it needs new thermal paste because it idles at the SteamOS interface at 105C.
Nice.
So it's due for a thermal job.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I haven't done a whole lot. I was messing with some QEMU stuff earlier. I did figure out my issue with NetBird. It was not a PEBCAC error. It was a very unfortunate timing error. It turns out that their infrastructure in the US, the relay server they normally have, was just down the day I was doing testing.
Oh.
Because I just messed with it this week, and it's just like Tailscale. I get 3-4 milliseconds latency to my house, and that's more than enough for me. So I was just very unfortunate that day. So I've been using NetBird now for a little bit. I'm going to keep messing with it. Maybe I'll do a video eventually when I remember my password.
Well, good stuff. Well, thanks for being here. Glad you got your hardware worked out. Yellow screens, although they may be beautiful, probably not what you want when you want more colors than just one.
Not particularly.
Adam.
Yeah.
How are your wrists?
Dainty and useful.
Good. Any chance you might go to Vintage Computer Fest Midwest this year?
When is it?
September. I don't know. I gotta look again.
Possibly. Thinking about it. I don't know that Nessa will be in tow if I do. She enjoys the retro gaming convention, but not so much VCF. So
September 12th and 13th.
Yeah. I might be able to squeeze that. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Are you
I'm
going?
gonna try. Yeah, I definitely want to go. I really like a lot of the people there. I know I like the nerdy old stuff. I really do. It's
rad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty rad. I don't get it, like why I like it, but I just do. So anyway. Well, cool. I'm glad you could be here.
Thanks.
Yeah. Dale. How you
Sir.
doing, man? Thanks for being here.
Good. Thank you for having me.
Any exciting developments? I
only thing I
listened to
got
your first
new
podcast.
You did you?
I absolutely did.
Outstanding. Thank you. Constructive criticism is welcome. Episode 1, This Week in Linux, is out. I'll make another one, episode 2, and tomorrow. And that'll be on YouTube, podcasts, and the written scribble form will be on the website, lowtechlinux.com.
And those links are in the show notes.
Thank you, sir.
You bet. And lastly, but not leastly, Mike.
I just want to start off by saying and telling Hip Dad that I've had to crawl to the bathroom a lot of times in my life, but it wasn't work out. Okay. It was for other reasons. So I just wanted to put that out there.
I've been there, done that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you
Where
go.
you're a portable bathroom and you don't realize it until it's too late. Yeah.
I just wanted to reach out to everybody listening to the video and watching this stream or watching the video later to be sure and like this video on YouTube and come and join us in the stream sometime, because Nate puts a lot of hard work into this every week. And, I think when people show up and we have these great conversations, it's good for everybody. So
I like it when people show up.
Yep.
Makes it more fun for me. Because if I talk to myself the whole time, that'd be like a Tuesday,
And I also wanted to tell Colin that it's good to see him, that he's here for his once a month visit. So
right.
Yeah, I try my best to turn up. It's disappointing when I see there's no Linux this week and I go,
Yep, that's right. So everybody be sure and click the like button on the video.
Yeah.
Having said that, Nate, I think it's good. I think it's good that you're doing things and taking a break anyway. I think you really do need to do that, because you have to have sort of, your own time as well, So I think it's a good thing. It's good to see you doing that.
Yeah. I mean, I could do like a Linux Saloon from the county fair, but like you hear a bunch of chickens clucking or cows mooing, and I don't know how much you'd like that. So
I'm just sad I didn't screen grab that picture of you holding your turkey while you were doing Linux Saloon.
It was after.
I mean, that was classic, buddy.
That's because I went to the bathroom and there was a turkey in my bathroom. I know how these things happen. Yeah. But what can you do? I'm basically a Beverly Hillbilly that runs Linux. So MSG, I think it was MSG. Was it MSG? Yeah, no, MGS. I'm sorry. MSG is an additive. MGS said, I have to drop off. It's lunchtime for him. But I'm working on this immutable Fedora plus Neary porting to Bluebird to boot C. Nothing particularly exciting. So a lot of that sounds a little bit over my head. Maybe so. Sounds like another distro developer guy. Maybe there can be some like Fedora versus Debian versus the OpenSUSE corner over here. We can all have a discussion one of these days, and I don't know, duke it out in a fun, happy way, right?
Like there's always room for Jello. That's there's always room for Jello.
That's right. I'm more of a pudding guy myself, but yeah. Anyway, I have a website called keepinglate.com. I do things. Check it out. So thank you all for your support, however you do it, being a part of the conversation, both here in the Discord voice chat or in the YouTube stream, as well as for everyone watching the show after the fact. And thank you everyone involved in making Linux and open source tools possible for us to not only have this conversation, but also to have fun and enjoy technology. Linux truly puts personal back into personal computer. Thank you for stopping by. Be sure to tip your developers, like Mike, and please remember to Linux responsibly. Until next time, which will be 2 weeks from now, application appetizer. If you have any suggestions for applications, fire them away. See yous. Oh, see, I still haven't adjusted the speed of these credits. Gotta make sure Texaco, ASDF, Goofball,